Hello everyone, my name is Kotetsu4, and today I'm going to be talking about Steven Universe. Now that Steven Universe and its movie and its epilogue series Steven Universe Future have been complete for a couple of years, fans have had plenty of time to examine the show in its entirety. But to my knowledge, no one has yet discovered this interesting fact about the original show, and that is that Steven Universe is a chiasm. For those who are unaware, a chiasm is a literary device that's kind of like a mirrored poem. Essentially, a series of events or ideas is presented to the audience, then poetically presented again, but in reverse order. When expertly crafted, the center of the chiasm, in between the series and the reversal, will often be some sort of main point. Chiasms appear very frequently and most popularly in the Bible. Now, I'm obviously not suggesting that Steven Universe has inspired scripture. Chiasms exist in other literature as well. Nevertheless, when I found this, I was quite impressed and had to make a video to document it, even if it is a couple years late. Now, in tracing this chiasm, we are only going to be looking at the premieres and finales of each season of the original show. The chiasm I found does not extend to the movie or Steven Universe Future. That's not to say that one couldn't, but I have not found this to be true. So our list of episodes we'll examine includes Gemglow, Jailbreak, Full Disclosure, Log Date 7152, Super Watermelon Island, Bubbled, Kindergarten Kid, I Am My Mom, Stuck Together, and Change Your Mind. And our goal will be to find the chiastic center, the main point, if there is one. Let's begin. First off, we have Gemglow and Change Your Mind. So how is Change Your Mind the poetic parallel of Gemglow? In Gemglow, Steven is trying to learn how to summon his gem weapon. He goes to each of the 3 crystal gems in turn to learn their technique, and after he successfully summons his shield, Steven concludes that his power comes from eating ice cream, or more specifically, Cookie Cats. Now this is very important because Cookie Cat is a very obvious metaphor for rose quartz / pink diamond. When Steven sings the Cookie Cat song, the lyrics mention that he came to this planet from outer space, which could be any gem coming to Earth from Homeworld. He is a refugee of an interstellar war, the keyword refugee narrowing it down to a crystal gem. And finally, he left his family behind. Now this could only be Rose Quartz, who left her family, the Diamonds, to live on Earth. So when Steven believes his power comes from ice cream, one could interpret this to mean that his power comes from Rose Quartz. But of course, at the end of the episode, it is revealed that his power does not in fact come from ice cream. In other words, it does not come from Rose Quartz. And yet, the crystal gems still accept him for who he is. Now on to Change Your Mind. Throughout the episode, Steven is trying to convince the Diamonds to end their reign of terror. He goes to each of the 3 diamonds in turn, much like he sought the advice of each crystal gem in turn in Gemglow. In that episode, the crystal gems are trying to teach Steven, but now Steven is trying to teach the Diamonds. Finally, White Diamond makes the argument, being fully convinced that the base of Steven's identity is Pink Diamond. Steven himself is struggling not to believe this same thing. Just as Steven believed his power came from Cookie Cat and Gemglow, which would be to say that his power comes from Rose Quartz, that is Pink Diamond, now we're struggling with the idea that Steven's identity may come from Pink Diamond. But just like in Gemglow, it turns out that this is false. And just like in Gemglow, his mother's family, then the crystal gems, now the Diamonds, accept him for who he is anyway. The next level inwards in this chiasm is the episodes Jailbreak and Stuck Together. These are a bit easier to spot the parallels in. In Jailbreak, Steven has been taken captive on a ship by Jasper and Peridot. Jasper is a brute who hates fusion. However, at the end of the episode, she fuses. Peridot is the leader of the mission to Earth, despite what Doc says later, and she relies on technology for her power. And there's another character worth noting. Lapis is imprisoned just like Steven, only Lapis isn't trying to escape. She's given up. But in the end, Steven and Lapis, along with everyone else, do get off the ship. In Stuck Together, Steven has again been taken captive by Homeworld gems. This time, it's Topaz and Aquamarine. Topaz parallels Jasper. She's a brute, but instead of hating fusion, she is a fusion. And like Jasper goes against her principles and fuses at the end of Jailbreak, Topaz is forced to go against her own wishes by unfusing at the end of Stuck Together. Then there's Aquamarine, who parallels Peridot. She's the leader of the mission and relies on technology for her power. Finally, we have a parallel of Lapis in Lars. Lars is taken captive with Steven, but he's given up and isn't trying to escape. Nevertheless, just like in Jailbreak, both Steven and Lars do get off the ship in the end, even though it doesn't mean freedom for them. Next, we have Full Disclosure and I Am My Mom. Here, the focus is Steven's relationship with Connie. In Full Disclosure, Steven feels that in order to protect his human friends, especially Connie, he has to shut them out. So Steven spends the episode shutting Connie out. But then at the end of the episode, Connie convinces him to let her into his life, and so he tells her everything. In I Am My Mom, we have a reversal. Steven spends the episode letting Connie into his life by partnering with her to save the captive humans. It's Connie who sends Steven the picture of Funland so he can find Topaz. When Steven gets Topaz to unfuse, he then fights the two Topazes side by side with Connie, and attempts to save the humans side by side with Connie. But at the end of the episode, Steven once again shuts Connie out. He surrenders himself to Homeworld, resolving to go it alone. We're getting close. Next we have Log Date 7152 and Kindergarten Kid. Right off the bat, both of these episodes are about Peridot. In Log Date 7152, Peridot has newly become a crystal gem, and we go through her journey of learning to appreciate the crystal gem's way of life on Earth. The episode features a comedic clip show where Peridot attempts to learn Earth life on her own, with some help from Steven and Garnet. After the clip show, Peridot has a conversation with Garnet. This conversation prompts her to try fusion, something new to her. At the end of the experiment, she realizes that some of her previous misconceptions have been dispelled, and that she has a better understanding of Garnet. Kindergarten Kid follows Peridot after her first combat victory against Jasper. We follow her on her journey of learning to respect the crystal gems as a team. Just like in Log Date 7152, there's a comedic clip show where Peridot attempts to accomplish something with some help from Steven. This time, it's defeating a corrupted gem. And after the clip show, there is again a conversation at night. This time, Steven is the one who prompts Peridot to try something new, thinking like the monster. Peridot tries it, and at the end of the experiment, she realizes that some of her previous misconceptions about gem monsters have been dispelled. She has a better understanding of the monster, just as she had a better understanding of Garnet. Finally, we have Super Watermelon Island and Bubbled, the premiere and finale of Season 3. These two episodes were disappointing at first. The fact is, there's not much that they have in common. I wondered if this was the end of the line for my attempt to find a chiasm in this show. But then I realized that even though Super Watermelon Island and Bubbled don't parallel, if you take the first 5 episodes and the last 5 episodes in Season 3, there are in fact tons of parallels. In the first 5 episodes, you have a crystal gem fusion fighting Jasper while she's in full control of her own fusion, with some help from a small green friend. You have a dramatic scene where Steven closes his eyes on the crystal gems. You have Steven in an unlikely location, the Earth's mantle, where he saves the Earth with a bubble. There's the first appearance of Bismuth's physical form. Then a significant point is made about Lapis not getting along with Peridot. The Ruby Squad shows up at the very end of an episode, and in the next episode, the Crystal Gems trick the Rubies with a thin disguise that they abandoned too early, prompting the Rubies to form Mega Ruby. And again, in the last 5 episodes, we have the first formal introduction of Bismuth, then a point is made of Lapis and Peridot getting along well, a Crystal Gem fusion fights Jasper while she's in full control of a fusion, with help from a small green friend. The Ruby Squad shows up at the very end of an episode, and in the next episode, the Crystal Gems trick the Rubies with a thin disguise that they abandoned too early, prompting the Rubies to form Mega Ruby. We see Steven in an unlikely location, space, where he saves himself with a bubble. And finally, there's a dramatic scene where Steven opens his eyes to the Crystal Gems. But why the first and last 5 episodes? Why not 4 or 6? The beginning 5 are a bit more intuitive since they take place back to back, and the last 4 episodes take place back to back, but why include Bismuth? What if I told you that both of these sets of 5 episodes were their own chiasm? I might go into more detail on that in a future video, but for now, it's time to find the center of this chiasm. Season 3 has an even number of episodes, so there are actually 2 episodes in the center of this chiasm. And these are, drumroll please, Restaurant Wars and Kiki's Pizza Delivery Service. Underwhelming? I thought so too at first. When these 2 episodes came out, people complained about them being pointless filler, but let's take a second to examine them. Restaurant Wars follows the story of Steven restarting and then ending the bitter conflict between the Fry Shop and Fish Stew Pizza. It's a many years old conflict that Steven unwittingly restarts and then ends by getting both sides to agree with him. Sound familiar? It's literally the plot of the entire show. A thousands of years old conflict reawakened by Steven. Now, obviously, the planting of the cluster was not Steven's fault, but he is responsible for Peridot and Jasper coming to Earth, which was the Crystal Gem's first alert that the war was not over. But Steven ends the feud by gradually becoming the spiritual leader of the Crystal Gems, as Bismuth points out in Maid of Honor, and then getting the diamonds to see things his way. And now on to the next episode. Kiki's Pizza Delivery Service shows Steven helping Kiki Pizza learn to say no. Kiki loves being helpful to her twin sister Jenny, but when this starts to take a toll on her mental health, Steven teaches her that she must admit the problem and take action to remedy it. Again, this may sound familiar because it's the message of Steven Universe Future. In Future, Steven's trauma becomes problematic, and like Kiki, he spends a long time denying the issue altogether. But in the end, he has to admit that he has a problem and begin taking action to improve his mental health. So the center of the chiasm is really a miniature reenactment of both the main show and its one-season continuation. The message? Bring conflicts to peaceful solutions or risk hurting the people you care about, and be willing to admit when you need help and seek it. Pretty cool. I've also found possible chiasms in both of these center episodes. Let me know in the comments, do you think this theory is legitimate, or do you think I'm mad? I might make videos on the other chiasms I found, but my next video will probably be on something else. I hope you enjoyed. My name is Kotetsu4, and I'll see you next time.